Hi, my name is Laura Krieger with SIO, and today I'm going to walk you through the proper wiring installations for the SIO 14 and SIO 18 Pro Series quartz infrared electric tankless water heaters. 99% of our installation issues are caused by improper wiring connections. The SIO units have an advanced proprietary circuitry and has very simple but very specific wiring requirements and must be followed exactly according to the wiring diagrams. First of all, you need the proper circuit breakers in the service panel and the proper gauge wire going to the SIO heater. The SIO 14 requires two 30 amp double pole circuit breakers and 10 gauge wire. The SIO 18 requires two 40 amp double pole circuit breakers and 8 gauge wire. In this video, I'm going to show you how to properly wire a SIO 18. We put this panel together and install the circuit breakers, and this will represent your service panel. Now on each of the breakers, I've labeled the terminals to keep it very simple. Line 1, line 2, line 1, and line 2. Then I labeled the terminals on the breakers inside the heater. Line 1, line 2, line 1, and line 2. The cardinal rule, the most important rule, is that you have to connect line 1 from the service panel to the corresponding line 1 in the heater panel. That's critical. So you're going to wire line 1 to line 1, line 2 to line 2, line 1 to line 1, and line 2 to line 2. Now, if for whatever reason these wires get reversed or crossed, you're still going to have 240 volts going to the circuit breaker, but the unit will not function properly. It's critically important line 1 to line 1, line 2 to line 2, line 1 to line 1, and line 2 to line 2. In this demonstration, we're using 8 gauge wire. Both are hot, and a single ground. There may be times when you have to install the circuit breakers back to back in the service panel. The breaker on the right will still have L1, L2. But when you take the breaker and reverse it and put it into the left side, these terminals are now reversed. Line 2 is at the bottom and line 1 is at the top. So when you wire these, you still go line 1 to line 1 in the heater, line 2 to line 2 in the heater. But when you get to the reversed breaker, you'll notice that line 1 is now on the top and line 2 is on the bottom. So be very careful that you follow the line numbers. Line 2 will now go to the top of the breaker in the heater. And line 1, which is on top in this breaker, goes to the bottom of this breaker for line 1. So again, we go line 1, line 1, line 2, line 2. The reversed breaker, line 1 is at the top, but it's now at the bottom of the heater breaker. Line 2 is at the bottom, but now it's at the top of the heater breaker. Again, if these wires are crossed for any reason, you'll still get 240 volts to the heater, but the unit will not function properly. There are times when you have to use a disconnect between the service panel and the heater. It's very important that you trace your wiring from the service panel to the disconnect, through the disconnect to the heater. Once again, make sure your lines are going from the service panel to the heater through the disconnect in the proper sequence. Another issue that rarely happens, but can happen. All of the SIO units are shipped with the wiring harness not connected to the digital display on the cover. That is done after you've wired the unit. Now, if for any reason you have to remove the cover, be very careful that you don't stress the cabling. If you do that, you could possibly loosen the connection inside the PC board, and then you lose your digital display. If that happens, You remove the cover and make sure that that connection is tight. And also make sure your connection to the cover is tight. As I stated previously, 99% of our installation issues are wiring connection problems or errors. Use this video to troubleshoot any type of trouble that you may run into during your installs. Once you understand the basics of the wiring requirements, you will eliminate most of your installation issues.